Let's go, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. It is November 12th, 2024, and this is episode 63. As always, I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co-host, Derek Kwan.
What's up, everyone?
Hey, we've got a great show for you tonight. Things have been a little bit quieter here in the winter season, but we have a really fire month happening right now. We just wrapped up the MSPT, and we will be just going into the World Series of Poker circuit. So we will go through all the results from the MSPT and around town, and a little bit touching up in NAPT. Some of our blasters and former blasters had a pretty good showing.
And Ty found out some details about how MSPT series tracking is, and he's a big fan of it.
Yeah, love these players, as you can tell by the fact that we are doing our own Player of the Year. I love these long-term tracking systems, really fun leaderboards. So on that note, I updated our Player of the Year leaderboard for the last week of results from, well, not the last week that has been input to Hendon up from the bike. So we'll take a look and see how things stand.
And to follow my big week, Ty himself had a big week cashing a couple of times with a couple of deep runs at the bike at the MSPT.
Yeah. I mean, good cashes, good runs. We'll talk about them. I feel like I could have done better, but I love it. I love it when I feel like I could improve. So, and then, as I just mentioned, the circuit starts at Commerce tomorrow. So it's time to come and get your hardware, people.
Wow, so fast. It's here already.
Yeah.
And then we're going to wrap up with the weekly roundup as always.
Yes, but first, we want to wish a very happy anniversary to Matt Savage and his lovely wife, Marianne. Congratulations and happy anniversary. 20 years. Way to go, guys. Way to go.
20 years together.
And Frank slipped by. Apparently, his 20th was last month. So, a little belated happy anniversary to Frank and his wife.
Frank too?
Yep. Congratulations. Man, 20 years is a long time. That's crazy. All right, let's jump into the results, shall we? I'm going to save the MSPT results for the end, and we're going to just start with our, the fan favorite, everyone's favorite around here, Kevin, and the dailies down at the Gardens. So we had a late show last week, so let's start with the Friday night event. The Friday night event, here we go. The Friday night event was the final 5 players chopping it up with Paul Wynn. Was the chip leader, and he took home $7,700 for that chop. Way to go.
Nice. Well,
he declined a photo, but we all know who you are, Paul. Here's the top 5 from that chop. Paul Wynn, Thuy Wynn, Michael Bender. Michael Bender, man, I know him from work. Sailesh Patel and Michael Wynn. So 2 Michaels and 3 wins. Interesting. It's not a very diverse top 5. Well, congratulations to all the Michaels and Wins who chopped that guy up. Nice reminder on Kevin's timeline. We're still trying to get those free roll entries. We're not all as lucky as Derek, so keep your eye on the WPT account. They are still putting out lots of ways to win seats. I feel like they still have like 600, 700, 800 seats to give out. I could be wrong though. Doesn't it feel like they have hundreds left? I mean, like how many have they been given out? All right, Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, it was a 10K guarantee. The 188 entries in that made, they didn't say how much they all got, but it ended in a 9-way chop, and no one wanted a photo. So Sunday, however, that was the bounty, the big bounty where they have, this bounty's nuts. Like I said before, I don't like bounties, but I do like when the people playing the bounties are absolutely 100% going to put every dollar of bounty they win back into the tournament. 279 entries. These Sunday bounties over the Gardens are fire. It's a great time. I can't wait until I can just go down there, throw a couple 130 buy-ins down, get a couple drinks, have some fun. It's going to be great. So, a $28,000 prize pool for a $130 buy-in. This is nuts. So
that is really crazy.
Yeah, you can win almost, the original first place was almost $6,000 for a $130 buy-in for a weekly tournament. Like, what the heck? I mean,
and I feel like this is a little bit of an off season too. So I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Seriously, that's like a six. That's basically like basically like $100 to the prize pool. So we're talking 60 times your buy-in, right? So I mean, if you could get that kind of return on, say, the main event here, that would have been, stuff is all crazy. Like, this is really good. Anyways, it was a 9-way chop. Congratulations to Moshe Boskila, this smiling gentleman right here. Way to go. I don't think they've had any other results, so just a reminder, we'll come back around to it, but yep, they have their Black Friday coming up. All right, so let's head over to Resorts World, where they were running the NAPT last week. Congratulations to Sammy Beshahead, good old Sammy the dealer. He ended up he came back from he's moved to France. He came back to try and defend his title, and he was not able to defend his title, although he had a great showing in the main event. He ended up getting I remember, what was it, like 43rd or so. He had a very strong cash, made it to day 3. Maybe it was 30 something. I'm sorry, I'd have to.
Yeah, I think he finished in the top like 20s or low 30s or something. Yeah.
He had a great showing in his title defense try, but he was able to pick up another trophy here in the 8-game mixed event here, the Poker Life Media 8-game mixed event. He won almost 13 grand for that, and look at this, second place was none other than Kathy Chang, friend of the pod. I still need to. Unfortunately, all the mixed game events around town happen when there's no Hold'em event or it's a weekday, so I haven't been able to link up with Kathy and get her one of our hats. But we have been talking about Kathy winning everything all year, maybe a year and a half now, and here's when I won. Her and Sammy 1 and 2 in this 8-game mix. Way to go, guys! Congratulations.
Unbelievable. Yeah, good job. Sammy's a good buddy. Hope he's doing well over there in France, but glad to see him come back to America and still bring some trophies back.
Yeah, yep, absolutely love it. And then another former / honorary blaster, LA Blaster here, Christina Gollins. You may remember her from winning the housewarming from our opening circuit event last May in Commerce. She got second place here at the NAPT ladies event. So almost, so close. Congratulations. Way to go. She got second place. The first place name is not on her Instagram. Sorry, I had that up earlier. But second place is not that bad. Way to go.
Yeah, what a crusher.
Good job, absolutely. All right, so let's hop over to the MSPT. So the MSPT main drew, it was 580 players, I believe. Nope, I'm sorry. 601 players. Not a bad first showing, 500K guarantee. So they hit 601 players pretty comfortably, hitting the guarantee. I think the turbo is the one that put them well over the guarantee. There were maybe 15 people short before that turbo started at night. And the winner was Carl Oman. So congratulations to Carl Oman, apparently Vancouver native, which means that he likely was here traveling for the MSPT, which is, I wish a blaster had won this thing, but I do like seeing that people are traveling and coming in for these tour events, right? What we'd really like to see is a lot of people coming in with these named events and, kind of enriching the pool and getting a sense for playing in LA and wanting to come back and play other stuff, right? So,
interestingly, I felt like there were more faces I didn't recognize at the MSPT event than the WSOPC event at the Commerce.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if you kind of observed the same thing, but there were definitely a lot of new players that I'd never seen before, and it was very clear that they were like traveling along with the MSPT.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of players I didn't recognize it either. I mean, I remember, for instance, meeting some nice, some cool Canadian fellas at the circuit. These tournaments, the MSPT tournaments, they were kind of smaller in numbers. So I saw the density of our locals and the people I recognize, but given that density, I thought it was a good percentage of faces I didn't recognize, if that makes sense. Yeah. And people I don't usually get to play with. So it's kind of tough to have a good sense because the pure numbers at the circuit that happened in May, you look around, I could see 2 tables of people I don't recognize, but that would be maybe a smaller percentage than what we saw here, people I don't recognize.
And actually, you know what it is? It's probably that the people that were from out of town were more like Vegas people, which we kind of already know. So I don't see them as new faces, but probably there were a bunch of people that came that never play in LA and only in Vegas that came for the World Series. So maybe the numbers are just similar, just that the people from MSPT I'd like never seen before.
Sure.
So it was just like,
yeah, that's true. You probably recognize a lot more LA or Vegas players than I do, honestly, especially at this point. And but it is true, the MSPT tour, they do try to draw from that different player pool. It did start mid-states. I think it started probably in like that Ohio, Chicago kind of area. So they do try and attract a slightly different player set. So it is good. It's awesome. I mean, the more people we can mix and play, the better. So rounding out this top table here, Carl got first place. Second place was Cord Garcia. He was a massive chip leader going into day 2, and he managed to hang on to second place, which is a super big feat in itself. He actually knocked me out fairly early in day 2, unfortunately. He was running really great still in that part. And Cord also has recently moved back to Los Angeles, apparently, so we are going to have to deal with him a lot more often. Yay, us.
Between Cord and Hastings, it's a little bit too much going on.
Yeah, Cord's here, Hastings here. We got Ryan. We got Ryan, who's going to be playing more locally. We got, it's getting tough around here. And then, of course, got Andrew, who didn't make the table. Andrew Ostenchenko. We got all the folks loving to play the local LA events, but it's great. We love it. The more prestige we can bring, the more more challenge we have. It's great. Bring it on. Third place, John Padilla. Fourth place, Dave Gutfrund. In fifth place was Rocco Iati, which apparently, I apologize, I said your name wrong last week. I may have said it wrong again, but at least I have the right vowel now. And Rocco, we're going to get back around to later. Sixth place, Rick Mechmeal, who, if you recall, final tabled. He's been final tabling a lot of things at the bike lately. He final tabled at Park West Classic. He made some deep runs in some other events recently. This has been a great series for Rick. So, seventh place, David Phillips. Eighth place, Steven Sakai. And ninth place, Mir Gascari. So another local reg, Mir Gascari. Way to go. Congrats to all these. And also, I believe Steven Sakai is also a local blaster here. And look, I made the coverage. Woohoo.
Nice work, everyone.
Yep. Like I said, I didn't make it too far. I will cover my not very interesting bust-out hand when we get around to that. But, a lot of the blasters did make day 2, though. I was at the table with Sahel. He was out pretty early. We had the current MSPT top of the leaderboard, Josh Richard, who also, I believe he just won a WPT last year. So he was here, blasting away as well. Mark Fiorentino. Oh, I didn't realize that was a link. All right. We all have MSPT points now, guys, so we need to go chase the player of the year, too. Mark Fiorentino made it through pretty far. Jared Greiner got pretty far. Andrew Ostapchenko got pretty far. So everybody, a lot of blasters in this day, too, getting in the action and showing pretty good. Pretty good showing. Might as well point this hand out. One really exciting hand from the coverage. Cord did knock out someone with a royal flush. He knocked out Rocco, who and Cord made the royal flush with King Jack spades. So that was pretty exciting there, right? All right. So there were a couple other events going on over there at the bike this week, though. Let's cover some of those. I can't remember where we left off, though. Was this the last one or no? Now, Frank got third in this. Was this the one, number 60? All right, well, we'll pretend like I didn't know this was it. I'm unfortunately, I think I recognize this guy, and I think he was being a real jerk at the table, and I apologize if this isn't you, but I think he was being a real jerk at the table and got a penalty near the end of my event that the second event I cashed. But anyways, it seems he won the 25K Super Stack, so congratulations, Leonardo. Second place was Tengu G. Third, Franklin. Congratulations, Frank.
Nice job, Frank.
This is the one he was complaining didn't count in the standings because the guarantee was too small. Sorry, still doesn't count, Frank. Fourth place, Louis Henry. Fifth place, Peter Parker. Spider-Man in the mix.
Spider-Man.
Sixth place, Armin Pogoshian. I'm sure he wishes that this counted too because he's currently in second or third in the standings. A little preview. Seventh place, Juan Redinger. Eighth place, Brian Lee. Ninth place, Cheng Fan. And 10th, Warif Asaf. And I know, Cheng, I don't think he cares, but he is one of the people that I noticed, and I'm not going to fix it because it's still too much work to fix it for everyone. He's one of the people that is in Hendon Mob with multiple names. So he really ought to, if he cared, to combine them. But if he doesn't, then, he'll just continue to have two different names in Hendon and two different spots in our Player of the Year, which means not likely to climb too high with splitting his points. Other events, we had a shout out to Sammy, getting his second in there. Congrats. Another funny thing to point out, there was no double bag bonus for the MSPT main, but that didn't stop Paul. Paul wanted to double bag it anyways, so he did. And then he went over to the Gardens and he won that, was it the Saturday night or the Friday night event? I mean, there's no stopping that guy. A shout out to
The single double bagger
yeah,
was funny.
just the min cash double bag. But he did it. He did it. Shout out to Jeremy and Anthony and the other MSPT guys. So way to go. Thanks. You're welcome. He came into the chat last week. It was a pleasure having you here. Come back anytime. We have, yes, this was the other event that happened this weekend. This was the other event that I cashed. I loved, I only got to play with Estrella for like 15, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour total, but loved her. She was super sweet, good energy, and she was, she's managing to hide it in this picture somehow, but she had so many sparkly things on. Like her hat is a shiny rhinestone hat. Her phone was completely shiny up. Her jewelry. It was really fun person to sit with, and seemed really nice. So congratulations, Estrella Lim. She got first place. It was a 6-way chop, it turns out, but she must have had all the chips because she has double of what second place Sammy got. Sammy, way to go, Sammy, if you're in the chat, which you are often. Congratulations. Third place, Chris Beschlian. Fourth place, Timothy Lee. Fifth place, Tianping Shu. Sixth place, James Lee. That was the end of the chop. So I guess once they kicked Alti out, they chopped. So congrats to Alti for seventh. So Alti, Sammy and I were all three of us were in the day two, so we managed to make it in here. Eighth place, Smat Gazarian, and ninth place, Patricia Nast for the ending the final table, rounding out the final table here. I came in 13th here.
Nice job.
Yeah.
That's a
It's all
really
right.
deep run.
No, not bad. It's been a while since I was literally complaining during the beginning of the tournament because I was in for 2 bullets. First bullet went really fast. I was complaining about how I've just been doing so much better in the 1Ks around town than these single day sub 500 tournaments because I don't know. I just running bad. That gambling's too much, etc. And then I almost final tabled.
Be careful what you wish for because that's kind of what I was doing, and then all of a sudden I started doing well in the smaller ones, and now I'm doing
I
bad
know,
in the
right?
1K.
No, I
So,
wasn't
so you just
wishing.
be careful.
I wasn't
Careful.
wishing at all. Anyone at the table say, I said, this is fine. I'm okay with it. It's just funny. So before we leave, Frank's excellent work on Instagram, on our Instagram here. Got to point out his player of the week this week is Rocco Yachty. He made back-to-back final tables in the Mini Mega and also in the MSPT here. So congratulations. And in both of those final tables, he beat his previous largest cash apparently, which was 28,000. So so in the Mini Mega, he got fourth and he got 50K for that. And in the MSPT, he got fifth and he got almost 30K for that. So congratulations, Rocco.
Yeah.
Huge week
80.
for you. Huge week and a half for you.
80K in like 4 days.
Way to go. So Frank also wanted to point out a couple other nice sets of results here. Alti also final tabled at Mini Mega. And then she cashed the MSPT, and she final tabled that super stack we were just talking about. And then he's, patting himself on the back here, you and he for final tabling these other guys here as well. So that will
that's
definitely
some pretty
boost
good
you up.
results from Multi too. And I always kind of tease her a little bit that she comes and plays like 8 to 10 tournaments a year and just goes deep in every single one of them. And sometimes I don't think she realizes how good at poker she really is.
Nah, she's like low key killer. Yeah, she's quiet.
Yeah.
She's quiet, and then before you know it, she's at the final table. Happens
Yeah.
so often. You see it so much. All right. So yeah, with the MSPT, I was super happy to see it come through. We were happy to see the series, and like we mentioned, we were really happy to see her nickname is Star. That makes sense. We're happy to see them come through, and I just Frank kind of pointed this out because of the way I've been needling you about your chops in our Player of the Year and how I'm saying, we're changing it next year. But he pointed out their system, but I also took a look at their website and I just saw they have so many cool different leaderboards and stuff happening. This MSPT series has been going on. Well, let me see. How long has this been going on? They've been running the MSPT since 2009. Is that right? Yeah, since 2009. So for 15 years now. But they have their GOAT rankings. They have their forever rankings here. They have their own career earnings set, which is just and the World Series of course has its own set of this stuff, but they are the biggest, right? But it's nice to see these other series really caring and doing stuff. So they have the thing that I think is really cool is they have their season points, right? They're keeping their own season points. They have for that season points, they have a Player of the Year, and for that Player of the Year, they have a real prize. The Player of the Year gets this page is just all different cool stats that you can just check out.
Fantastic.
Earnings, how many times someone's made the top 10, how many times someone's cashed in main events, how many
This is great.
times they've made the finals table in a single season. You know, like this is like
Yeah.
sports geek stuff, and this is like really kind of stuff that players can kind of be like, oh, I got a goal now, right? I'm really gonna like
Right.
I have to go to
Right.
these last two. I'm so close. I have to go to these last two stops. I wasn't gonna go, but I almost made one of these like milestones, right? So super awesome. But the cool thing about their Player of the Year is that it's got a real prize, right? The Player of the Year for this is going to get that a free seat is going to get entry into that WPT Championship. So that's a 10K prize for winning the Player of the Year. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And not only that, and then here of course they have all their player listings. But not only that, they have a Hall of Fame. Is that this? Yep, they have a Hall of Fame, and the Hall of Fame is not something you vote in. The Hall of Fame is something that you get through grinding and through accomplishments. So that's really cool. You get in by either winning an MSPT, I'm guessing main, and yeah, these are for main. So by winning a MSPT main and cashing 25 MSPT mains, or by winning the MSPT Player of the Year, or by I'm sorry. You get 25 cashes in the main event in a year. Well,
And one
I'm
win.
sorry. Yeah,
Or
not year.
yeah.
It's a win or Player of the Year, and then 25 MSPT cashes lifetime. Duh. So
No, it's
it's
minimum of 25 main
cashes,
event cashes plus one win.
right?
So that's one way to do it. Or you get one MSPT Player of the Year.
Well, but then they have this big or here, which is 10 MSPT final tables and a win,
Yep.
or Player
Yep.
of the Year. So I kind of think you can either get the win or get the Player of the Year, and then it's either 25 cashes or 10 final tables.
If you get MST Player of the Year, you're in.
I don't think
If
so.
you get yes, you see the big or?
Right,
So
but
that's
that's
like
the
an
big or
statement.
here.
Yeah, so in both of them, the big or is one MST Player of the Year. So it looks
Because
like
this is redundant.
MSTK.
I think that if it was just Player of the Year to get you in, that would be a big or here, and it would say or win Player of the Year. I think you need to have. I think it's like lifetime achievement plus like one shining year / tournament achievement.
I think what this is saying is minimum of 25 MST cashes and MSPT win, or 10 MST event final tables and one MST win. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I see what you're saying. I don't
Yeah,
know why they put the
because I think
MST Player of the
because they
Year
put it
across
twice. I
both
think
doors.
I think they're trying to say you get one big shining achievement, and then you get your lifetime achievement of either 10 final tables or 10 25. In any event, it's cool to see this because, for instance, I played with Angela. You were there too. Angela Jordanson played right in between us. And one of the things she said was like, well, one of the reasons she came and she was blasting so hard in this event at the bike, and she was blasting very hard. So was this fella here, Hall of Famer. Where's his picture? Right here, Hall of Famer Umut Ozturk. We heard a lot of stories from the field, from Frank and from other players. He was he was blasting super hard trying to get that Player of the Year, trying to do other stuff to pad their stats here. People love padding their stats and being the best, right? But Angela was here because she is very close to becoming the first female in the MSPT Hall of Fame. If you look through all of these pictures, you notice there are no women yet. So all she needs to do is get, I think she said maybe 6 more cashes in main events, and then she'll be in. So she's just trying to rack up some more cashes and get in there and be the first. So it's really cool to have that kind of thing, have that kind of achievement here.
I think these are the kind of things that casinos should learn from, is that this is the stuff that players care about, right? So when you hear like even the card rooms being slow reporting things to Hendon Mob, look how important like leaderboards and stuff are
Yeah.
to players, right? Like look at them to like following the MSPT around and paying out of pocket to stay at hotels and flights and that stupid 7% tax in California to follow the MSPT around. So this is how important it is to people.
Yeah, exactly. And even our Player of the Year that we're running, people are caring. And we said when we first started it, like, there's no prize. We're just keeping track. And people are like really getting into it, right? Frank says Uma won last year. He's trying to go back to back. That's why he cares so much. I mean, like, and there is a prize for winning Player of the Year, but like, he's really doing it for the bragging rights of saying I went back to back, So like these casinos, I mean, even if it was per series the way that LAPC did, that's one thing. But even if all they did was banded together, which is honestly, this is kind of what we're trying to do with our Player of the Year, get the excitement up, try and get some interest, and get these casinos. Like if all the casinos that run series around here just band together and say, let's do an LA Player of the Year like we're doing, and then let's all support it for some sort of prize. I don't know what it is. You would have people who wouldn't, like, when people just don't feel like playing on a day, if they were playing for this series, they'd be like, oh, I don't really feel like it, but But I have to go, right? I mean, we hear we hear people like Frank and other people out there saying like, "Oh, is that player of the year or not?" It's the thing that's tilting me about whether I'm going to bother going there or go to the Gardens, right? It's like,
Yeah.
does that one count? I need to get my points, and we have no prize, guys. If you guys had a some kind of partnership, some kind of deal, so look, talk to us. Let's talk when we're done in the year, when we see how exciting it is, we'll go around and we'll talk to people. But this would be huge. I think this would really help um,
Yeah.
get people into casinos they maybe don't go to all the time, and just get people to
Right.
out the door. That one tournament that Beth ran deep in, the SoCal Poker Championship or whatever. I mean, I wish they could do stuff like that. That would be so cool. Just run like day
Yeah.
ones down in San Diego, run day ones here in LA, run day like at various casinos. Just let everyone play wherever they want. Max out the rooms. Seems so cool.
Yep.
All right. I just want to quick talk about their chop policy though. So I kind of like this. I had never, honestly, this hadn't really crossed my mind, but once I read it, it sounds like it kind of makes sense to me because what they're trying to do is discourage chops as opposed to our local casinos, which are kind of trying to encourage chops. But the way they have it set, and the thing that's interesting me for our Player of the Year points, is that as soon as people agree to any kind of chop agreement, that is the most Player of the Year points everyone in that agreement can get.
Mm.
So if everyone says, hey, let's talk about a chop, and they come to a deal, and they talk about either chopping completely or chopping with a save, but as soon as a deal is reached, for instance, if it's a 6-way chop, then all of those players can only get 6th place Player of the Year points. So, for instance, if some unscrupulous co-host were to chop 10 ways, instead of getting 1st place points, he would only get 10th place points, right?
It's interesting because I would actually agree with this because chopping is like a money save, and I
Mm-hmm.
think player of the year is really more of like an
Yeah,
achievement.
it's glory, right?
So yeah, I would actually agree with that. The thing is, like, I'm not chopping for player of the year. I'm chopping for the trophy, right?
Right,
So
right.
like I told you
Yeah,
before,
and you get to
if I
keep
was
the
in
glory.
second place, if I was in second place and I was gonna get a shit ton of points for the player of the year, I wouldn't have chopped because I wanted the trophy. Like that was my goal. So I 100% agree with this. That I think basically flattening out or basically at that, yeah, capping the POY whenever you chop
Yeah.
seems like it makes sense.
And then for me, because of, how kind of labor intensive it is to do Player of the Year and try and keep things somewhat correct, I like the fact that I won't have to go modifying formulas and coming up with like doing extra math on, well, how much money did everyone chop for and what percentage of the points should they get. I like the fact that it's like, what? It was a 4-way chop? Oh, show me the 4th place points. They're all just getting that. That is so much easier than saying like, well, he got 80% of first prize money, so I guess he'll get 80% of first prize points, and that guy got, just
Yeah.
seems way easier. And I like that, you're being forced the money or the
Yeah.
glory, right?
I mean, to play devil's advocate though, even though I do agree with this, it's kind of like they're both extreme ends, right? So when you chop and just get full player of the year points, that doesn't seem fair because you chopped. But then if you chop, just flattening out the POY almost doesn't seem fair
Yeah,
because one of the people could have had a tremendous like chip lead and just decided to chop for the money.
yeah,
So, but I think if we had to lean one way, I'd still go with the flattening out the
yeah.
POYs.
This is definitely the simplest. I mean, you could say like, all right, if they chop 10-way, everyone gets 8th place points, but like, or the other thing I was thinking is like when they chop, you just take all the points, add them up, and then you average. But once again, that's more work for me, and this is really
Right.
easy and it's punishing for chops. So I mean, that's why I kind of really like how simple and elegant this is. But
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, when you think about the second order effects though, then like if some people are very caring about the POY, or we do have like prizes associated, or even if they have like side bets, that could be a thing that would prevent them from chopping red and making them go play on just
hmm
for that alone. So yeah, I think it's all good.
yeah, yeah. And what I like is that assuming, if I had a series and I'm trying to find a way to keep people from chopping because it's like more glory and it just seems better for my series to have a real winner instead of choppers, right?
Yeah.
But give them the option if the money's what matters and you really want to chop, do it. But I'm trying to discourage that because I want you to play it out the way the circuit. I mean, like, because the World Series, you just don't chop. They won't let you chop.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you can still chop, but we're just gonna. There's a reason. There's a thing. There's consequences, right? So I like it. I think next year this is definitely high on the list of changes perhaps to make on our Player of the Year. Yep, we can tweak it a little bit, but I like it. So, speaking of our player of the year, let's take a look. I have updated, and I did just get word from field reporter Frank, number one field reporter, that I had noticed some irregularities in the last event that I put in there, which was the last 150K guarantee that they ran. I believe that was event number 43 or something. And it seems that for some reason, all the results from that event did not get reported. So I'm not sure why, but hopefully that will get fixed before the next batch of results go in. So let's take a look at what, if anything, has changed. Top of the board, still the same. Man, I don't know if I would have ever predicted someone would stay in the number one spot for so long, but Aaron Zhang, he's holding on to that number one spot. I think he's been number one. Let's see. Yep. So he's been number one since at least, was this September 2nd? So that's pretty wild. So
have they still not reported the XL bounty from the
They
Commerce?
still have not. I don't know if they ever will at this point. I have some other, we have some other observations for Commerce when we get to talking about the circuit, but yeah, that bounty has not. And I'm unfortunately, if they never report it, then it won't count. I mean, I wanted it to count. It's a good tournament to count, but if they don't report it, then Elton, you're gonna have to go to the link and do the search yourself, man. You're probably way too far down or not on the list. I'm pretty sure you're off the list, buddy. Jesse, you're definitely on the list. I'm almost positive you've cashed. But let's run through the new top 10. So the previous top 10 was Aaron, Armin, Kwok, you, and Mark, Eugene, George, Calvin, Kevin, and Frank. The new top 10 with the new weekend is still Aaron. Mark has jumped to second place. So Mark used to be 11th. He has now jumped to second with his win in the one-day event. Armin has slipped to third. You and Kwok are now fourth and fifth. Neither of you cashed this last set of results. You're still only separated by 0.1 point. 0.1 point. That's absurd. Beth has Beth has jumped now. Beth was down in 22nd. And she got second in the event that Mark won, and that was enough points to jump her into sixth place. So she has cracked the top 10 now. Way to go, Beth.
Good job, Beth.
Mark Weinstein, I believe, also has now jumped into... Nope, he was fifth. Sorry. He was also fifth.
Yeah.
So he's fifth. Eugene has slipped to eighth. George has slipped to ninth. And Kelvin has slipped to 10th. So out of the top 10 now is Kevin, Frank... I don't think I was in it before, was I? Yeah, I was already out of it. I've fallen down now to 14th. Yep, and yeah.
Interestingly, there's going to be a lot of movement in the top 10 because of my two final tables, and also I think Mark went deep.
Well, remember, one of those was Mega Millions. That won't count.
Oh yeah.
Yep, Mega Millions won't count.
But yeah, Mark. I think actually maybe Mark was also in the Mega Millions that went deep. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, Mark did go fairly deep in the MSPT, so you will get points for the MSPT that you went deep on. I believe Frank said you're going to get 300 something points, so you'll be up here-ish. Mark cashed the MSPT pretty good. He'll get some points. I cashed the MSPT, and this other one I'll go up. Where's Alti? She just got like 3 cash. No, one of them is that as well though. I'm surprised Kirk's not higher. Oh, but a lot of those were quantums. Yep, quantums don't count, guys. And let me see. Jesse was asking where he's at. Actually, wait, he's Jesus in here, right? There you go, Jesse. You are in 76th place with 450 points. So not bad considering we're currently tracking well over 1,000 players. 1,080.
If you're somewhere in the top 100, that's crazy.
Currently tracking 1,081 players, it looks like, or maybe 1,080 players. I have to. That's just remembered. I have to put the rest of these numbers in. So about 1,080, and you're in 70 something. So way to go. So yeah, and we are nearing the halfway point. I would say after the Garden Series, we're probably a little over halfway actually, because we'll be done after the next circuit in May. So that's 5 months. So yeah, I'd say actually we're probably right around the halfway point. This circuit is probably right at the halfway point. So the circuit's probably marking the ending and the halfway. So. Oh, come on. Fine, Elton, I'll quick look where you don't play here anymore, man. Yeah. No, you're not on the list, bro. You have to play and cash in a weekend large event in a series. You're not on the list. Come back to LA, do some playing, Elton. Get in here. Yeah, shout out to Jesse. He did have the world's fastest satellite win. They were doing a satellite into the MSPT
That's
main.
so funny.
Max late regged it, and they were apparently 12 away from the money in that satellite. And within 20, 25 minutes, 12 people had gotten knocked out, and he got a seat. So that is
Hysterical.
amazing, amazing hourly.
Yeah.
Frank says he would have been seventh if his event counted. That was the smaller one that I said didn't count. So, hey, look, the list was out there, all right, and you ask every time which ones do and don't count. You knew what you're getting into. All right. So yeah, let's talk about our weekends. So, I think that after your torrid week last week, you kind of cooled off this week, right, Derek?
Yeah, I had a very frustrating MSPT main event. I couldn't get anything going on any of the day ones. I mean, I think a couple of builds I probably played like way overly spicy, but even the ones where I was like super patient, this I couldn't get anything going. It was very, very frustrating. And then in the 1 day event, I was actually so card dead, and I was just so patient. I just didn't get out of line at all. I was just like waiting and waiting. And I finally got aces into tens pre, and the guy flopped basically a flush draw with
Mm-hmm.
three clubs, and then hit the fourth club on the
Uh,
turn.
yeah.
It busted me out of the tournament. You were sitting at the next
Yep.
table when you saw me leaving.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't even know you were there until I saw that hand, and then you were getting up. And Frank and I,
Yeah.
neither of us thought you were even in the room that day. We're like later on, Frank just says like, "Oh, did Derek stay home today? Was it quiet?" It's like, no, I saw him bust. He was here. He didn't want anyone to know. He was just on the down low. He's having a slow week. He just didn't want to tell us. So yeah. So for the MSPT, I've played in one other MSPT. So currently have a 50% event cash rate, so that's awesome. I'm loving that. I think you're the same now since you got final. You're 50% final table rate in your MSPTs though, so
That's true.
yeah.
This is true.
See, but my other one was a main event as well. I flew out to Firekeepers a couple years ago to check it out because I just could not believe they get 2,000 people to play in that tournament randomly in the middle of
Yeah.
Michigan. It's like insane, but they do. Um, so after that, or not after that, but here, it was kind of a theme for the weekend. My first bullet in the main event, I dusted in probably 20 minutes, like 15 minutes. I probably dusted it faster than Jesse got his seat, which is impressive in both ways. I got looked up on some crazy, like literally. So I sat down, and this nice older fella that I play with sometimes. You know, I play with everyone because we play so much. As soon as I sit down, he's like looking at me. He knows me. He smiles. He's like, "All right, don't bluff me today." He said, "You better not bluff me today." Well, I should have listened to him because he snapped me off several times in the early goings. I had this one hand where he opened. There were like two calls. I called on the button. The flop was 5-5 queen. He bet. Everyone folded. I called. I had trash. I had like, I don't know, like Jack 8 or something. I called. The turn's like, a blank. It's like three. Of course, it's a blank. It's 5-5 queen on the flop, basically a rainbows. He checks. I bet pretty big. He calls. The river's a queens. Now it's like, I don't know, like 5-5-7. Oh, yeah, 5-5-7 queen queen. He checks. I bet like pot, like 1.2 pot or something, like huge. This is level 1. I bet like 15K, on this river in this level 1 pot, and he just snaps me off with nines. I'm just like,
Oh my
okay,
God.
you were not
Oh my
kidding.
God.
You were not kidding at all. So then that left me low, and it was funny actually. Then the hand that I bust out on, and this is another theme of the weekend, busting out with ace queen, just constantly. Ace queen just destroyed me. I get all in with ace queen. This guy, so the same guy here, he limps. Many limpers. The button raises. I jam. I have like 15, 14 bigs, but it's early. It's like level 1. Okay, this fella here calls again. The button just calls. Okay, the one who squeezed just calls. Oh, darn. I have ace queen. Flop is queen 5-3. Check. He checks. The button bets tiny. This guy calls. Turn 7. This guy, well, I forget who bets, but basically it's bet raise. Everyone's all in. So I'm like, at first I see the flop. I'm like, yes, I'm tripling up. All right, the flop, tiny bet call. I'm like, okay, I think I'm still tripling up. The turn, I'm like, someone bets. I'm like, dang it, I'm probably beat. Guy raises. Chips, what's going on? Guy raises all in. I'm like, yep, we're completely dead. So set of 5s, set of 7s.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So the old fella who was bluff catching me had the set of sevens. He turned it. A button had a set of fives. River's another five, quad fives, set of sevens, my top.
Oh my
We're out.
gosh.
Both of us are out in like less than a half an hour. It was sick. So I'm like, oh boy, this could be an expensive day. So I go to the window, get my second table. Second table goes way better. Not a lot of big cooler hands, not a lot of big this or that, just kind of chilling. I think was it your second or your third bullet of the day? One of your later bullets, you came over to my table. We played for a while. You
Oh yeah, yeah.
you snapped off. You made a really tough call against Angela. She put you to the test. She mistook you for I believe she calls it a barbecue dad. You called with a bottom pair of threes on a flush draw board, and she had the over in the flush draw, and you held there. So that was nice. But then your luck turned just as quickly, and Travis really was wrecking you, if I recall. All the luck you were having, he started having against you. So I didn't really do much fancy there. Just like played, whatever, stacked up, managed to bag that day. Bagged a little under average, which was not awesome, but awesome. Like, it's good to bag, and it was close enough to average that I was going to be able to play. The interesting thing was at the end of that day, so we're down to final two tables. I think it was two tables. No, three tables. So 20 people were going to bag up. So final three tables. I had Andrew Ostrchenko at my table, and he had like a slight chip lead on the rest of us. He had like 350K when we were getting close to the bubble, and I had like 250. The next person like 200, and then everyone else had like 100 something ish, right? But the thing is, he's just so good and was running so good and was just like, we were so close to the bubble. He literally just did a perfect clinic on bubble play, scooping all the pots, and every time it went multi-way, we just checked, and he would have like second to bottom pair and win. So he went from 350 to almost 800K before we bagged up. And in the same time, Cord was on the next table over, just winning massive pots, stealing all the pots as well. He told someone he literally was winning. Like, he would lose. He said, "Yeah, I lost like a 200K pot and like a 400K pot," but he still had 900K. He's like, "But I literally won every other single hand." Like, he's like, "Sure, I lost these two big pots, but I mean, he doesn't mean every other hand he played. He meant he won every single other hand." So
He's a very aggressive player.
yeah, and the bubbles of these MSPTs are just so abusable. It's insane. Hey, Sammy, way to go. Congrats, Sammy. Congrats on the second.
Yeah, Sam,
So
good job, man.
the funny thing was, though, from my flight, 20 of us bagged, and Cord had almost 1 million. He had like 980, and then Andrew had almost 800, and then Mark Spitarelli, way to go, Mark. I think he bagged almost like 600. So like, everyone else in the flight we just had so few chips. It was insane. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, I bagged like in the top third of my flight with under average. It was so weird. So bagged up, came back on Sunday. Unfortunately, couldn't escape Cord. He's in my flight day one. He was 2 to my left on day 2. So it's just like, great. I'm like not going to be able to do almost anything. Very first hand, off the deck, I got Sol Hal on my right. I got Rick, who final tabled a couple more over there. It was a really solid table, actually. Most of the tables felt pretty solid, but this table was a really, really tough draw. So very first hand off the deck, I got pocket jacks. I open kind of early. Cord raises me because it's the first hand off the deck. He's probably just seeing what's up, so I stuff it in his face. Woohoo! That's almost the only hand I won all day. Almost the only hand I won all day. I didn't get to play too many more. Like, I played ace queen, I lost it. I may just missed everything. Or actually, no way. I played like ace jack and missed everything, and then I had to fold ace jack another time to someone jamming or something. And then my last hand, I was under the gun. I've got like 12 big blinds. I've got ace queen suited. I mean, I better hit, because if someone wants to play, this is the hand. I get it in, and of course, Cord wakes up with kings, so I'm just out. So yeah, it's rough, because like this one, and then the last one, the 500K quantum, both of the final hands, they were kind of just like, well, that's just fate. Like, cards say you're out. There's no play, really. There's nothing you can do. I mean, the other week, here you have the nuts. Mike has a set, wants to get all in. You're just out. Here you've got 12 bigs and ace queen suited. What are you gonna do? I mean, you could here are your choices. You can raise and then call it off. You can jam. You can try and, I guess you could try to limp jam, but it seems awful. And if anyone raises, you're still getting, like, here's many different ways you could get it all in and lose, but you're getting it in. There's just There's
Right.
nothing else happening here. So
Yeah.
it's like kind of lame. It's like, I played all this and then I don't even really get to make a
Well,
decision on my last hand.
well, it is lame. I think that sometimes there's solace in the fact that you made the right decision because there was no other decision. So
Right.
there's no ambiguity about whether or not you did the right thing.
Yeah. So that's in real contrast with the one day. So I busted, jumped right into the one day, um, got sat at the wildest table, and by wild I mean like it felt like there were several players at this table who I don't think had played a tournament before, and
Wow.
it was playing like a 1-2 blue chip game. Honestly, like it was crazy. Jesse came to my table actually. Jesse, you were there. You know the table I'm talking about. There was this one hand that Jesse played, for instance. So first I sit down and the nice lady to my right was talking about, oh, she busted the other day. This guy called even though she 3-bet real big with Jackson. He still called with 7-4 or something like that, and like called and then hit 2 pair in the turn. But then this hand happens. Like there's like 3 limps, and then Jesse in the small blind makes it like times 8 with pocket tens. And then this nice lady calls in the big blind, and then the button calls, and the flop's 3-3 queen, and Jesse bets out for like, like I don't know, 2/3, 75% pot, and she like, I don't remember if she called or slammed it in, but basically she had king 3 offsuit, flopped the threes, and honestly, Jesse got out of the way. He lost some chips there, but the button is the one who kept playing, and she actually, when the button called and then Jesse folded, yeah, she raised the button, so the button calls her raise. Jesse just basically 3-bets, makes it 8x pre-flop, leads the flop big, gets raised by the next person. The button just flats. Jesse folds. She thinks that Jesse was the only one in the hand and shows the 3. And then I'm
Oh
like,
my
no,
God.
there's someone in the hand. There's someone in the hand. Oh, he called. She jams the turn. The button still calls with king, queen, jack.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, what? He wasn't even paying attention. She literally
Oh
showed him
my
the 3.
gosh.
She missed
Dude.
it.
I hope that he just didn't see it. That's
But
crazy.
even so, like you, if you were even if you weren't paying attention, you would know something big happened, and like we're saying, like no, he's in the hand. Don't show. Which means she
That's true.
showed. Which means like, come on, why else would someone
Mm,
show? Yeah, it was crazy. Like, and then they still get, and even after that, we thought for sure he saw. So after that happened, and they're going to the turn, I'm like, well, hey, at least he didn't see the other card. And she's like, yeah, he doesn't know my kicker. And then she goes all in, and he calls, and he's like, well, what's
it
your
is
kicker? I'm like, oh, you have a 3, and it's like, wait, you have a queen. So this is the table I was at. So not, needless to say, I was out. I busted that table in about 20 minutes. Jesse and I were both
Yeah.
out of there real quick. So I went to the second table and I decided if that's the kind of tournament this is, I need a beer. So got myself a beer, started running way better, doing fun things like jamming ace jack suited against. I actually got ace king to fold somehow, but then got called by nines and I don't know, some other hand that somehow made a straight when I made a flush. So things went better. We went far. I had another really fun hand, really deep in the tournament. There's probably 3 tables left. I feel a little bad, but not really because it was, it's fun. The guy was still smiling. I have kings. I have about 600,000. Blinds are probably, let's see, I had 600. So blinds are probably like 30,000 or something. I probably actually no, we were really short. I probably had like 14 big blinds, which was above average, above average because of the turbo. So I'm looking. I open. Jesse says that guy saw the 3.
Oh my God.
um, so in the chat, yeah. So I'm like, I think I'm like in the cutoff. I have kings. I open standard. Big blind defends, right? Flop jack jack deuce. Whatever. He checks. I check. I'm like, darn it. What am I gonna do? Turn jack. We laugh. Ha ha. He checks. I'm like, put another jack out. I check. The river's a deuce. And then the guy like just kind of laughs and he's like, I'm all in. So he's all in, and like he covered me. I had 600, I had above average stack. He covered me. I'm like, snap call, and
Yeah.
he flips his hand over. He thinks we're gonna chop. So that's the only reason I felt a little bit. He thought we were gonna chop when I called. Even when I called, I'm like, no, I have kings, and
Yeah.
poor Saul was sitting right next to him, and you could tell he's biting his tongue. He's like, "Whoa, man, what? Why you do that, man?" He wanted to say more, but he's just like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, so that one should have propelled me a little further. We had a lot of chips. I got real tired that day though, man. I've been really tired, really busy the last few weeks, and been trying to cut back on my caffeine intake. So when we got down to the final 2 tables, I mucked up a couple hands. I screwed up a few hands. One of them I feel a little bad about because like in my head I usually play really fast, and I make I bet bet the pre-flop, I bet the flop, and then on the turn, I'm paused, I'm thinking, I'm doing math, and in my head, I'm feeling like, okay, well, you got to jam. And I just hate jamming in these, softer fields. Um, we have it's that awkward time in the turbo though where the average stack is 11 bigs, and I had,
Wow. Yeah.
at the moment I have 9 bigs in my stack, and I'm like, it's worth so much though. I just don't want to jam, but I'm supposed to jam. Whatever. So anyways, the guy had ace queen, no pairs yet, and he rivered an ace, which was also the flush card. So I bluffed the river, and now I'm down to 6 bigs instead of 9, and it's like I should have just done what I knew what I was supposed to do, just bet the freaking jam the turn.
Yeah.
And I messed up another hand then, but the point there is like, for me, I kind of personally prefer the way I busted this tournament in that I can point to 2 really big hands that I can just be like, look, I really messed those hands up. I needed to think through more. Either I knew the right play here, or here I need to think about why, or I can't, and like thinking back on them, I feel like I can think back on them. And in the one hand, so the first hand I screwed up, this guy brand new to the table, first hand at my table, I haven't played with him all day, sits in the big blind. I raise, he hesitates and defends his big blind, flops all diamonds, he just donks. He donks, but he has 700K-ish, and he donks for 200, which is only 2 big blinds. Or it was 2.5. Blinds are huge. But he has 700K, and he puts 200 out, and I've got top pair, no flush draw. I'm like, with a decent kicker, so I call. And then the turn, he jams. And a lot of times in my head, it's like, a lot of times people in these things, when they jam, they will frequently jam with the draw, right? But he was too deep. In my head, I feel like my problem was that actually he's too deep. People jam draws when they're jamming around pot, maybe a little less, a little more, but not when they start the hand with over 3 times pot, right? So because he went 200, then he went 500, and then he was all in at that point. So, but like I feel like I learned something there. Or even if it's not always learning something, I feel like I was refreshed on something. Like I gotta think about that. But like the other 2 hands, the deck says you're out and it's over, right? And for me, I kind of hate that more. So I don't know. You said there's some comfort there, and there is, like, you can sleep better at night, but like I don't know.
Well,
I prefer the other way.
I like learning moments not on my bust out hands. You know what I mean? There's plenty of learning moments throughout the tournament. I just don't need them to be on the bust out hand.
I could get that, but for me,
but yeah, I hear what you're saying too.
For me, I'm gonna remember it more when it's the later critical hands. Like if I mess up an early hand in level 1, like I'm almost not gonna remember that for sure. But this one I'll probably remember for at least a month or 2. So
that was like my WPT main event hand last year. That thing ate at me for like 6 or 7 months. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you didn't make that mistake for 6 or 7 months, right?
I did.
Exactly.
I'll never make that mistake again. I will never make that mistake again.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say I'll never make these mistakes again, but I feel like they're gonna stick with me more than the others. But I don't know. For me, it's the reinforcement that it is the skill game. There is the skill here, even with with the guy starting with like 11 big blinds in the big blind, or 9 big blinds in the big blind. There's still skill to maneuver and play around, and I messed up, and I much prefer that to be like, well, let's just see who hits the race. Let's like freaking, you see Bryn Kenny's hand where he won that huge tournament this week, just like, oh, way to go, you cracked kings, you're super good at poker. It's like, I mean, sure, I mean, I think he had like 34 bigs or something, but okay. It's like, I'm sure it was a fine play, but like when you see that, it's like that doesn't feel the same as playing intricately over 3 streets or 4 streets, right?
It seems like unceremonious.
Yeah, it's like, you play all this poker, and then the deck's just like, let's just see who wins. It's gamble time, I don't know. But yeah, no, I can't complain too much. I did finish up this weekend. I think, I didn't have quite as good a series as you and Frank did, but I think other than the opener, the 400, I think, which I bricked pretty hard, I think that tournament put me down for the series. But other than that, finished, even or up on the rest of the series, which can't complain too much about.
Complain about that at all.
And we're in good position here if I can get some sleep for the circuit coming up this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
are you even gonna be able to play this weekend?
I'll be able to play this weekend. Yeah.
Nice.
I'll be playing this weekend. Not as much as some people. So let's talk about the circuit. Circuit is back in town. We freaking are excited. And for those of you who are intense ring hunters, I really think that this opener, this 30K opener at 11 a.m. tomorrow, is going to be a great opportunity to get a ring.
Yeah. That's gonna be very light, I think.
Yeah, I really do. I think of all the ring events in this thing for Hold'em anyways, I think that's definitely going to be one of the smallest ones.
Yeah. I unfortunately can't make it, but good luck to those who can.
Yeah, like Jeremy running good, not getting selected for his jury duty.
Well, you know what? If Jeremy wins it, I'll be happy.
Yeah, if someone named Jeremy wins it, will be good. But no, I do think that's going to be a great one, guys, because it's the opener of the series. Some people not even realize we started again yet. And these nighttime ones, these 4 p.m. ones that they run, I remember last series, those were always like 250 or more people, right? So I would imagine this time those night ones will probably be, I'm going to just guess at least 150 to 200, probably. I'm guessing like 160, 170 entries probably on these nighttime ones. Probably.
Yeah.
That's just my guess, scaling it down from the last one. But I bet this opener tomorrow will have sub 100 people in it. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now, the event I'm actually excited for, though, is the mini main. I love these multi-days. Now, that was another funny discussion I was having is I know your take. You definitely prefer multi-day tournaments to the single days. But, I was talking with Daniel Higgins, and he final tabled like 4 single days at the bike that one series, got all the hoodies. And he really loves these one days. So there's just a lot of players around LA who love the one days.
Yeah.
But
you can just see by the attendance, like every time they have a one day, there's so many people that show up for those things.
Absolutely. So I and you, we love the multi-days. So this is the one we're really interested in, the Monster Stack. Now, the way the Monster Stack works is going to be the same as the housewarming. I believe this is how the housewarming worked as well. It's going to be, you can cash this event without bagging. So
Cash without bagging.
yes, so like a lot of these larger World Series events, it's, the World Series always cashes 15%, right? But going to day 2 is only 5%, or playing to level 19, which I'm guessing just will always be 5% for these fields. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is how the WSOP does it, right?
Yep. So honestly, like this is not dissimilar to the Mega Millions flights that the Quantums do, except better because you can't buy into day 2.
I forgot how hard it was to actually advance in these circuit ones.
For sure.
I remember, oh man, it was such a grind, such long days trying to get to that 5%, man.
Yeah, absolutely is. And this accomplishes a lot of what the bike does with its Quantums, in that like you can still cash, you get some money back, but you'll still have to keep playing flights. But this is better. I mean, you don't have to make it as extreme as 15 and 5%, but you do something like that so that you can get money back in the pool, just like those bounties get money back in the pool, right? So this is I didn't bring it up, but I want to say it's probably exact same as the housewarming. Do you remember how many chips you got in the housewarming last May?
I have no idea.
So here we start with 25,000 chips, so not as many chips as we're used to here in LA, but the structure is just fine in the beginning, especially in the beginning. Maybe after we get rid of the hundreds, it gets a little worse, but it's we start at 1, 2, 2. Hooray, there's no anti-level, but you get 2, 3, 2, 4, you get 3, 5, which we seldom get in our events. We usually go straight to 3, 6, I think.
Nice.
It's usually a 1K to get you 3, 5. So then, 3, 6, 4, 8, 5, 1,000 we often don't get. So like the structure's okay. It's not bad. Not saying get here late, but I'm saying the structure's fine. Don't panic about the 25K chips. All right.
Yeah.
So it will, though, just like you said, it's still going to be wicked hard to bag this thing. So that's why we got to get in there. We're going to fire, and I can't wait. Going to fire. As you alluded to, I may not be able to fire all the flights that I'm usually fire. I am probably, well, like I said, I'm not sure what day we're going to move, but I'm buying a house. I'm packing up. I got a lot of junk to do. So I may be not able to play as many flights as I usually do, but hopefully that just means I'll bag up right away. I'll just come in, I'll punt the first one as I have been, and then I'll bag on the second one. That's what's been going on.
Probably more responsible for your bankroll.
Yeah, to bag on the second bullet instead of like the 8th. However, I will tell you, I do my best ROIs are on my 6 bullets.
Yeah, usually that's when the anger sets in and you start playing.
My sixth bullet has insane ROI. It just happens a lot. Thanks, Sammy. Thanks. So in Queens, also, I don't know if we called it out, but we did the last time. They came to town, and I know you'll be interested. Once again, there are no ladies events on their schedule. California thing, they just don't want the hassle, I guess. However, it's interesting. Last time, I think they had. Oh, I take it back. I was gonna say last time I thought they had. Is this day 2? Oh no, that's it. Oh wow. Last time they had 2 seniors events. This time I think they only have 1 seniors event, but it's a multi-day. So isn't that interesting?
Wow. That is interesting.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of jealous. Maybe you'll play that one. It's a multi-day. See right here, they have a seniors event here, day 1A and day 1B. On Sunday, November 24th, 15A, and November 25th, 15B. It's a 40K guarantee seniors event, 400 buy-in. So hop on in there. I can't do it.
Maybe that might be a first one.
That would be cool. That one does not count for the Player of the Year though, because no restricted entry events count for the Player of the Year. Just for those just so Frank knows already not to complain about it.
Open. Yeah, that's fair. Yep. No open events.
Yeah, that one's not open. So Frank, you can't get points in it, even though I'm sure you guys are gonna final table that one together.
Yeah.
Apparently Star took down the last trophy event earlier. Oh, okay, no, he's catching Julie up. Okay. All right. So that is what's happening with the circuit. That is the big event this weekend. In case you weren't paying too close attention, the flights are Wednesday night. They'll have a flight at 4 p.m. And this is a weird quirk with the schedule. They're having a mini main event at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, and then at 11 a.m. on Thursday, but not at 4 p.m. on Thursday. There's a single day event. That's weird, because then on Friday, they are having a mini main flight at both 11 and 4. And then on Saturday, they're having a flight at 11. Now, I can understand not having a flight at 4 on Saturday, but why are you only having an 11 a.m. flight on Thursday? I'm so confused. Yeah. I don't understand. Confusing. Like, I kind of get the 4 p.m. on Wednesday because it's a work day. Let people come after work. But then why not do it again on Thursday? Put your ring event earlier in the day, the single day, I mean, and then put the mini. I don't understand. It's weird. Very strange. But that's how it is. Make sure you check the schedule if you're coming on Wednesday or Thursday or Saturday. You don't have both flights available. Both flights are available on Friday. All right. I think it is. Oh, one more thing I did want to talk about. So for this circuit, I think I have confirmation, but I can't remember the source, so we'll call it 80% certain. This series will not have the same kind of production that the prior series in May had. Hopefully next May we will have that again when the Tournament Champions comes, but this series will not have that production value. They're not setting up a stage. They're not doing all that extra coverage. I'm sure they will still have, who came last year? Poker.org, right? They'll probably still have Poker.org, would be my guess, but they're not having all of those extra GG cameramen and GG footage and GG everything. So it'll be the commerce coverage is my thinking. And also, they are not doing any stream final tables as far as I know. I believe Wayne and Live at Commerce kind of confirmed they're not doing any kind of partnership to do that. Despite it being sponsored by GG, it's not actually like GG, so they can't just do it. So that is what I understand. If we see or hear anything different, we'll let you know. But yep. And
that's weird. Yeah, disappointing if that's the case, but hopefully they'll come back next May.
Yeah. Hopefully next May we get the full experience again, because that was just so cool. Really, really felt like a little piece of the World Series.
Yeah.
All right. With that, I think it's time for the roundup. And that needs to go a little faster, or a little slower almost. We got to extend that thing. Okay, so this isn't happening this week, but just wanted to point out, now that the bike series has come to a close, they will be coming back with Saturday and Sunday tournaments starting on November 30th. So starting on November 30th, which is right during the Black Friday event, so maybe you're going to want to start going to those the second week of them being active. But starting November 30th, they will be having those. And then going back to the Gardens, their Black Friday schedule is here. They're going to have 2 100K events, one on Friday, one on Saturday, and then a 50K event on Sunday. There's only 5 events in this series, so make sure you check it out. They're going to be great. So for this weekend, there's nothing particularly special happening over at the at Hollywood Park. They're just doing kind of their regular tournament slate. However, remember on Sunday, there is a. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong week. Still on Sunday. There's a Chargers game on Sunday morning, so there will be no morning tournaments. Aside from that, they have their $8,000 guarantee Friday tournament, their $10,000 Saturday tournament, and then Sunday night their 5K. So just kind of their regular tournaments there. And same thing with Lucky Lady. No special events happening this week. Just their regular events. Still doing that Big O every Saturday at 11. The Gardens will be having its regular dailies, so those are always recommended if you can't or don't feel like playing in the circuit. They are a cheaper price point, so it is a consideration for sure. But for us, we will definitely be over at Commerce trying to win some jewelry.
Yeah, get those rings.
Yeah. Prediction. I think that this $600 mini main, I think it's going to have a bigger prize pool than the MSPT main just did. What do you think?
What was the
prize pool?
for the main?
The prize pool for the MSPT main was 589,000, I believe. Let me just quick look.
Wow, you think it's gonna clear 580?
579,965.
I think it'll be right there.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be tight. That's why I wanted to pick one. So I'm gonna take the over. I think it's gonna be very close. Yeah. Very, very close. So I'm taking the over. What do you think?
Yeah, it's gonna be somewhere between 550 and 6, I think.
Yeah, because the guarantee is 400. So.
Right.
And do you remember how big did the housewarming get? It blew it away, right? Yeah, it was like 750 or higher, wasn't it?
It was massive, and it was also like killed by the stupid line thing that was going on.
Oh, right? Yeah, and that's another thing, guys. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure the same things are happening at Commerce.
What are they doing over there? Like, why are they still doing that?
Because they're following every single rule to the letter without any kind of consideration. So go and buy chips. If you have time, buy chips, guys. Yeah. Stop at the cage, buy chips. Throughout this next 2 weeks, if you're going to play a lot of events, keep your money in chips, because if you're going to buy it again, just keep it in chips, because it will save you time at the cage, especially at these really big ones. If so, maybe get there early. Whoever gets to play the first couple days, if there's a big crowd, kind of get, I'm sure Frank will be in there reporting for us. Let us know if the lines are long, if they're doing anything to handle it.
Yeah, I don't even know what rule this is that they're following. I feel like no other casino is even aware of this rule, whatever this is. Yeah, it almost just feels like this is a Commerce thing and not an external thing. But yeah,
it's probably an interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah, to Ty's point, get chips instead of cash. Find that shorter line, hopefully.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just hate that they're basically killing attendance by doing this. It's really
it's just rising frustration levels. There are a lot of rebuys that don't happen because of that. So Jesse's with me. He thinks it's going to be around Well, actually, he said around 600K. That's kind of hedging too, but 600 would be the over. Frank has a trivia question for us real quick. If you can only name one player who will win a ring this month at Commerce, who do we pick? Me. Jesse's picking Frank. Okay, Frank, let's amend it. All right, if you could pick one player other than yourself to win a ring this month, in these 2 weeks here, who do you think's going to win a ring? It's tough because we don't know who's going to grind the entire series from our entire player pool, but let's see who is local that's been grinding everything, that's been killing it lately.
Like maybe Grinder. I think Grinder is always there, right?
Yeah.
So he's just always there.
Do we know if Aaron's gonna grind these? Because I kind of feel like I should pick our current player of the year. If he's grinding them, I pick Aaron. The reason I would do that is because I don't think Jared's gonna play the nightly 400s that much.
That's true. Yeah, he's
not
gonna put in the volume.
But if Aaron is grinding, he's gonna grind every single one. I bet. That was just my guess.
Yeah.
All right, and then let's see. If I had to pick aside from that, I just don't know if they're playing. Like, is Mark gonna play? I'm looking at our player of the year list. It's Mark. If Mark grinds these, I'd pick Mark.
Mark too.
We got some really good Beth's already won a ring. She could win another ring. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. So I'm gonna go with I'm going with Aaron unless he's not playing at all. In which case, I'm gonna go. If he's just gonna stay at the Gardens the entire time. Yeah. All right. So those are our picks. Frank's picking Quack. He's picking Q. That I saw that one on there too, for sure. He's gonna be grinding his butt off, I'm sure. So nice. And Sammy thinks it's gonna be Paul. Which Paul? It's not fair to say Paul. There's like 7 of them. All right, guys. Yeah, good question. Maybe we'll put a poll out on the Twitter. Be a good one. Get some chat going.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us as always. It's been a fun evening, guys. We have got to get to sleep so we can win these rings, man. That's my main thing. I just got to get to sleep so I can not fade at the end of the night. So I hope that we will see you all out there at Commerce at the circuit, and I hope that we will see you all at the tables, guys.
See you at the tables, everyone.